Hey everyone, welcome to Eco Convos with Dan. I'm your host Dan Vanderhoek, and today we are having a wonderful chat with Charlie and Megan from the Art of Domes. These guys are doing some incredible things. Their dome-shaped structures are going off. They are made out of aerated concrete, but at the end of the day, you don't need to hear that from me. Let's talk to them about it. I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone and welcome to Eco Convos with Dan. I'm your host Dan Vanderhoek, and just for something different, we are not live in the Century 21 office. We are actually out on site with Charlie and Megan from Art of Domes. And so we're going to have a bit of a chat out here, talk more about the domes, the creation, the why for and when fors, and hope absolutely learn a lot. So guys, thank you so much for coming along.
Oh, thank you for having us.
So mate, the domes, it's something a bit different. It's certainly unconventional.
It is. I've thrown my spirit level away.
Fantastic. So you are from a building background to start with?
Yeah, I've been a chippy for 20 odd years.
Yeah, okay, no worries. So what on earth made you change?
I don't know. I've always liked looking for something new, something different. I've been sort of researching the natural building methods on and off for 20 odd years as well.
Okay.
And I don't know, just my path led me to this. I did a workshop in it and thought, I wonder if, because I was researching hempcrete at the time, I wonder if I could aerate hempcrete.
Okay.
So I went along to learn aerated cement, and here I still am working with cement.
Okay,
yeah.
Mate, look, I want to get talking more into the actual specifics of it in a second, but Megan, how did you come along to this in the first place?
I camped next to Charlie in the campground here in Crystal Waters.
Okay.
And he told me all about the domes, and I asked him if I could come and help, and then now it's 6 months later, and my one night camp stay has turned into 6 months, and now we're starting a business building domes together.
That's awesome. So it really does become a passion project when you've got a story like that. That's unreal.
Yeah, I've never built anything in my life.
So how do you find that, actually going from never building something in your life to essentially running a construction company?
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of worked out. And this way of building is you don't have to have any construction background.
Yeah.
As long as you can use a handsaw.
Yeah.
That's all you really need to know to do, and use a paint mixer. That's really it.
So I suppose the next obvious answer is domes. Why domes?
Okay, domes. So with aircrete, we're basically building with the insulation.
Okay.
So as such, it's quite fragile.
Yeah.
You're getting a lot of strength just from the inherent shape of the dome. Supposedly, it's one of the strongest shapes in nature.
Yeah.
All like every block is leaning on another block, so it all locks in together. So that's why the dome. You can use aircrete in straight wall systems.
Okay.
It needs a lot of other inputs as well.
Is that to give that structural integrity?
Yeah.
Okay, so being aircrete, so that's like an aerated concrete, is that right?
That's right.
It's concrete like we normally see on our paths and driveways.
Well, it's actually just cement.
Okay, so it's just cement. There's no gravel through it or anything.
So you get a bag of cement and some dishwashing liquid.
Okay.
You make a nice foam with the dishwashing liquid to a set density.
So
mix it with the cement, and you've got aerated cement.
So you can do that while you're doing the dishes.
You probably could, yeah. I don't know if the washing up person would be too happy about it.
Probably not. So you said a minute ago about hempcrete. So you're looking at different ideas for hempcrete.
Yeah.
So how is this different? I mean, what is hempcrete to start with, and how is this superior, or is it a superior way of doing it?
Well, the hempcrete I was looking at was using magnesium oxide, which is a different form of cement.
Yeah.
And I just thought maybe I could aerate that. As it turns out, it probably isn't going to happen.
Okay.
Due to the unavailability of the magnesium and the expense.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I'll probably just stick with the cement.
Okay.
But it was worth a shot looking at it.
So you're saying it's also built in blocks. It's not it's not basically a carved dome, or is it a carved dome?
No,
how does that work?
We're making blocks with it, building it pretty much like an igloo.
Yeah, right.
So we're making the blocks because the aircrete is so carvable by hand. We just use a handsaw. We can shape the blocks to all fit and lock in together.
Okay, so when we start off, you said you can carve, you can carve into the blocks. There's that then allows you to then shape it and whatnot as well. You can shape the blocks to get into that dome shape. We can see them in behind us. They're rendered as well. So
Yes.
is that just a render that just goes over the top?
Yeah, there's a mesh. There's a fiberglass mesh on the outside of the dome, mixed with some waterproofing agents and some glues and things like that. So the outside mesh, there's an outside mesh and an inside mesh, and that's what gives it its like a lot of its strength, besides just the shape of the dome. So if you imagine a sheet of gyprock, that's just crumbly plaster, sandwiched between two very, very thin sheets of paper.
Yes.
And in a vertical situation, it's extremely strong. So this aircrete system is very similar to that. You've got quite soft, fragile aircrete sandwiched between two layers of very, very hard mesh.
Yeah.
And that gives it its strength.
Okay. So, what's the sort of the sort of expected life you get out of them?
No idea.
No idea. So, honest answer for us right here.
Yeah.
So,
look, this system was, aircrete's been around for a long time with products like achievable.
Yeah.
That's got sand in it and it's gone through an oven, so it's all controlled and everything. This is
so
like
for
DIY.
People who don't know Hebel already, they've been using it for the last number of years as a construction for conventional homes as well. Yeah.
This is bringing it back down to the DIY level. It's just cement, so it's very soft. You can carve it by hand, by hand saws. You don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need any skills. You can cut this and build with it.
Yeah. So how do you learn that? You guys run workshops?
We do. We've just started. Like, I've built a couple of domes now, and I feel confident in passing on that knowledge. I myself went and did a 2-day workshop with a mob down at the Gold Coast called Syntropic Life.
Yeah.
They're the ones that brought it back from overseas where it was developed, and the company that developed is a company called Dome Gaia.
Okay.
You can YouTube them, Google them.
Yeah. Go check that out. That'll all be in the show notes.
Yeah, there's everything I'm talking about here is talked about there. It's one of these open source companies.
Yeah.
So they've just put it out there on the internet. Anybody can learn it. A lot of people could probably just watch a YouTube video and learn how to do it. Other people would need hands-on experience and tuition.
Okay, so how does that work? We're here in Crystal Waters, so we're here as essentially what is set up as a permaculture community. How does these fit in through the permaculture principles?
I think it fits in because it's quite small. We're only building what we need.
Yeah.
We're building a sustainable home. It's not going to need a lot of inputs. It's not going to break the bank. You're not going to need a mortgage for it. It's going to last forever. We can say we're a young couple, and we're building our first place. We can build a cheap place for under $10,000.
Under $10,000.
Under $10,000, mate. This one behind me here costs $3,000 in materials.
That's unreal.
And there's a bit over 10 square metres of living space there. So say you're a young couple, you build, and you move into one. Along comes the first kid.
Yeah.
Just cut a hole in the wall and put another room on for another $3,000.
How does that go through council? One of the things you always get is council comes up with reasons why you can't do stuff yourself.
Well,
how does that work?
We're very lucky now because friends of ours just up the road in Flaxton, they've managed to get their aircrete dome approved through Sunshine Coast Council.
That's unreal.
So they got an engineer on board who came out and inspected it, had a look at the process, and then I think they employed a builder because they're doing it through an owner-builder scheme.
Yeah. So
there is a builder on site, and he's given them a few tips, and you've got to do this and got to do that. But essentially, it's been approved.
That's unreal.
The precedent's been set.
So in terms of that, and you were saying that this particular one behind us is about 10 square meters. Now there's that's about a garage size, a garden shed size.
Yes, garden shed.
So,
yep.
So how on earth do you get everything to fit? Is it 10 square meters? It doesn't sound too big.
No, but once you cut
it's actually surprising.
Once you cut those corners off, it seems like you get a better usable space.
Yeah. All right, so Megan, coming into this at the moment with zero building experience, you haven't got that 20 years that should be work behind you like Charlie does. How have you found that? That's got to be pretty daunting and whatnot to start.
I mean, Charlie's a really good teacher.
Okay,
Um,
that helps.
But it's also just like he's set it up in a way that he explained to me how he was taught through Syntropic Life, and they have their system of how they do it, which works perfectly. But he's made it where he only had this little tiny space to work with, so he made his forms in a different way and just made it really, really simple.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to overcomplicate anything, it just you're trying to come up with new ideas, but it just makes it more difficult. So it's just keep it as simple as possible, and all you're doing is mixing dish soap with cement. So there's not a whole lot you can mess up.
That also makes it handy as well. But just in terms of, I mean, looking at a landscape, saying, well, this is where I can put something. This is how I can do things. Determining whereabouts you're going to be placing your domes. Is that much of a decision to go through?
I mean, like the one in Nimbin that we're building now, we had to do a bit of earthworks and here too, but you can put the windows anywhere. You can put them up on top. You can have a skylight. You can be anywhere around since it's a circle. So if you're thinking of where to put them because of the sun or anything,
Right, so I mean, you said you had to do a little bit of earthworks. Is that just leveling the ground out, or so that's all you needed to do? Yeah. So no major foundation work or anything like that because you haven't got too much weight.
Yeah,
that's a.
I learned how to pour a concrete slab too.
There you go. There's more than just forming concrete blocks. So the actual process. So when you go through, you're forming the blocks together, and you're carving it out to have the shape that you want. We were talking just before about the windows where being able to put them wherever you want. You were also saying about being recycled. A lot of recycled bits and pieces going into them. How does?
On this dome we used all recycled windows. The little windows at the front are actually like little crystal plates from the op shop.
Really?
Which the owner was so stoked when we put them in. And the afternoon sun catches them and gives lots of little beams of light in there.
Through there. That's excellent.
Yeah, and with the recycled materials, we've also worked out that because we're only building in cement, every time we shape a block, you get a little bit of waste on the ground. And the first time we built, we just didn't really do anything with the waste. And then we were like, hang on, this waste is just cement. So now we're crumbling it back up. We're tipping it back into our aircrete when we pour the moulds. Yeah. And so we've got zero waste.
That's unreal.
So all our waste has gone back into the building. And if you look at the rubbish bin at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty empty.
That's fantastic. So it really is a complete. It's the whole package. It's better for the environment. You're not using. A lot of your energy use throughout the place is going to be lower because it is insulated just by the properties of it. It covers all the bases.
So aircrete will cover the bases. It's rot proof. Yep. It's cement. It won't rot. Termites won't eat it. The rain's not going to affect it. Once it's sealed, the sun and the rain aren't going to affect it. The wind, with a dome shape, the wind's going to pass straight over it. And even to some extent, fire will pass straight over it. Yeah. There's nothing to burn. There's no eaves and gutters for embers to get into. Yeah. So if a bushfire did pass your dome, you've got a much better chance of surviving.
Yeah.
Or the house has got a better chance of surviving.
No mice.
There's no mice.
And it's also rodent proof, yes.
So what makes it rodent proof?
Just the thickness of the walls and the fact that it's just cement.
So there's no join, it's just straight. It's down on the slab.
That's right. There's no nooks and crannies. And we're moulding all of our furniture, like the kitchen cupboards, the bed base. We're moulding all that in, so there's no joins. Yeah. There's no little hidey holes for dust bunnies and cockroaches and spiders to live.
Yeah. Well, then actually that brings to another thing. If you've got essentially, what is a bare cement, a material that you can actually carve yourself. How is the dust? Is there much in terms of dust?
The dust is terrible.
Yeah. When you're living in it, not necessarily.
When you're building it. When you're building it,
when you're building it, there would be a lot. But when you're living it, once it's completed.
I imagine it's going to be a lot easier to keep clean. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
But yeah, that is the one thing. Look, with every type of building, there's always a downside.
Yeah, of course.
And the downside to this is the dust. Plain and simple. When you're cutting cement, it's dusty. When you're mixing cement, it's dusty.
Yeah.
When you're doing anything with cement, it's dusty. Or it's wet and it's sticking to everything you own.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
So yeah, so there's a downside to every sort of building, and that's about the only downside to this one. Is just the dust. Dust masks, stand-up window when you're mixing, and things like that. And that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of insulation properties through the aircrete itself, how does that fare through summer and winter? Does it keep it pretty common through pretty stable through the time, or take the
we had this dome built halfway through summer, and it was always a good 4 or 5 degrees cooler inside. I've got no figures or anything like that written down, but it was always cool.
Anecdotal evidence is still evidence.
It
still works.
Yeah.
So okay, so I mean that's an awesome sort of feeling. When you're actually going through and creating all that dust that we were just talking about, what tools are you using?
I use a $7 saw from Bunnings. It's about the only thing it's good for.
Build.
Oh, it's huge, mate. Yeah, you need such a big toolkit for this. Yeah, it's like, I think it's the only thing you'd use one of those saws for, because they're pretty much rubbish. But
they work with this.
But every chippy's got at least a couple of them in his toolkit that never get used for anything. But so you just use one of those and like a handmade rasp, and that's seriously about it. And a trowel for putting the mortar on when you're gluing them together.
What an incredible option.
So I should point out that when we're making the foam, we do have a little foam generator.
Yeah. Okay.
But that can be as simple as there's plenty of homemade ones on YouTube.
So what sort of thing? What's a foam generator?
It's just taking the dishwashing liquid, which you've mixed up with water, and it's pumping it through basically a big bubble wand. Yeah. Okay. And you're ending up with a really nice high density foam, kind of like you get out of like a shaving cream aerosol can, just a real nice density foam. Or when you're washing up and you put too many suds in the in the sink.
That's when you go
Mum
yells at you and
So we've got a foam generator which just makes that. You can make them yourself or you can buy them.
Yeah.
And then we've just got a 240 paint mixer which mixes the cement slurry and the bubbles together. A bit of formwork, and that's seriously it.
So that's when you put it into your moulds?
Yeah.
And they just a rectangular mould to build.
We just use a rectangular mould, and then the day, we pour one day, the next day we take it apart, and we just cut all those blocks by hand with a handsaw.
Yeah.
It really doesn't take long.
So this is something, obviously, like you said, you did a 2-day workshop, to learn how to do it in the first place. Is that you guys are out there now teaching people how to do this?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay, so how can people get in touch with you?
We've made a website, artofdomes.com. We're also on Facebook, same name. Okay. And we run workshops out of the Crystal Waters permaculture site called Centre for Applied Permaculture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a permanent base there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure we've got all the links and everything through the social channels as well. We'll have it all in the story notes as well. So when you're actually going through and designing a dome in the first place, are they a standard essentially layout, or can they be done to some custom ideas? Can you do what are the differences essentially between these two?
Well, I think as long as you keep things structurally sound, then creativity is the name of the day.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want one dome? Do you want a full bedroom? Do you just want a little bed nook? Do you want, an oval arch? Do you want a round door? Do you want round windows or square windows or really all sorts of things? Yeah.
So it really is a world's your oyster.
It is, right? Yeah.
And it is suitable for, we said bedrooms, living rooms. So it's suitable for a kitchen? So suitable
definitely, yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so, we've got, like I said, we've got these two different ones, behind us. There is a specific difference between the two, in terms of the actual shape. They're saying that this one's more of an egg shape. How does that work? What's the reasoning behind it?
Because we were limited to under the 10 square metre rule by local council.
Yeah.
These are just sheds.
Yes. Multi-purpose storage.
So because of our floor space being a dome, your floor area will relate to the height of the dome.
Yep.
So this dome behind us here was just on 2.4 for a ceiling.
Yeah.
For some people like yourself who's quite tall, you might find that a little bit claustrophobic.
Yeah.
So on the one behind us, we offset our pivot arm in the middle, which gave us a larger radius, which ended up with a bigger, which gave us a bigger, higher dome, a higher ceiling. It
still has that 10 metre square footprint,
yes.
but it gives you a bit more space around
it
the
does.
sides.
It gave us a higher ceiling.
Yeah,
so,
that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We've got things like, you've got your essentially the ledge here, great little sun seat and whatnot, for the afternoon, just sit there, read a book in front of the windows, So those sorts of things you can very easily build.
That's right.
Design.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
All those nice little things you see online, like little hobbit homes, and we can sort of replicate all that.
Wow. So you really can, creativity is limitless.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how do you go about doing things like getting power to them? Is that possible?
It'd be the same as any other house. We can drill services straight through the wall or chase them in.
Yeah.
A lot of these homes, I imagine, are going to be off grid.
Yes.
So very easy to run solar, low voltage DC through them, or
That's very, 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 very cool. So what are the plans from here?
The plans from here. Well, we got.
Whereabouts are you headed next?
Yeah, we've got an ongoing workshop in Nimbin. We're going down for our second series of workshops where we're teaching all the installation of doors and windows. And then we go back down for a third workshop where we're meshing and rendering, and we've got a renowned artist coming along, which is an exciting development. He's the artist from Woodford Folk Festival.
Oh, fantastic.
And he's been doing the murals there for years and years, and he's collaborating with us to design artwork for the inside of the dome. So we don't know what it's going to be yet.
That's awesome.
But it's going to be in his style, and it's going to be incredible.
So do you know the name of the artist?
Oh, Gavin Ryan.
Gavin Ryan.
Yeah, Gavin Ryan. Big shout out to Gav.
Yeah.
If anyone's ever been to Woodford Folk Festival, then they know his work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got a couple of workshops potentially lined up around the Sunshine Coast area.
Okay.
In the next couple of months, so we'll be helping people build and spreading the love of domes.
That's awesome. So that's all available on your website.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So what sort of costs are involved in getting into the workshop?
Okay, so a dome, this one behind me, like I said, there's about $3,000 in materials, but the construction time taken to do one of these is a little bit slow, so they're not financially viable to go out and just build them for people.
Yes, fair enough.
I'd be, it just wouldn't be financially viable to go and build them for people. So
you're better
what we
off
worked out is we go out and get a host property. They want a dome. They pay for the materials. Then we organise a series of workshops that pays my labour and keeps us alive. And also, we get a bunch of people together. We teach them how to build domes, which is enabling all these other people. We also bring other little elements in, like live music, maybe some fire twirlers, some really nice communal cooking.
Making a real event out of it.
Yeah, we sort of make it into a little festival vibe, and then at the end of it, this person gets a really cool space.
That's fantastic.
So they're getting it cheaper. We're having a lot of fun. I'm getting paid, and a lot of other people are learning how to do it. So I think it's a win-win.
That's a win-win. That's the full circle.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of your workshops, what sort of that obviously they take place over an extended period of time, or what's the we do everything right from the start. We go through all the machinery. Yeah.
The foam generators, how we do it. Then we actually make the aircrete. Using a homemade wand or a shop-bought wand. We make the blocks, we cut the blocks, we stack the blocks. We teach people everything. And then so that would be like the first day. Then the second day we'll start block laying. Yeah. Obviously, we start building the dome from the floor up. So the first workshop we might do the first 3 or 4 courses of bricks. Yeah. As well as explaining everything else. Then the second workshop, the middle part of the dome, and the third workshop, the top part of the dome.
Yeah. Top dome. Yeah. Mate, it's a really, really interesting process, and the end result is just very, very cool. It's unlike anything you'll see anywhere else. but the just the sheer options and magnitude of what you can
That's
accomplish
right. Yeah,
with it is just is unreal.
yeah. It was actually the aftermath of the bushfires 2 years ago, which got me into thinking, wow, we need to go out and teach the average Aussie out in the bush how to build a better choice of home for the Aussie bush.
Yeah.
This isn't going to burn. Like I had friends down in Glen Innes, their whole community got burnt out.
Yeah.
Like 100 odd homes, it just got devastated.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of those homes, they were fantastic little shacks in the bush,
Yeah.
But it's all gone.
Yeah.
Maybe if they were aircrete, then they wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But also, I think they were also let down a lot by the government afterwards.
Yeah.
A year later, people still hadn't had homes being built.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if we can go out into communities and teach people to build for themselves, and it's only going to cost like $3,000, then you're back in a house.
Yeah.
You don't need a bank loan. And then because you didn't spend any money on it, you don't need to insure it. It's never going to burn down again. The termites aren't going to need it, so you don't need to insure it. So that frees up your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to go away on holidays next year?
Yeah,
let's go.
Let's just do it. So I think that's a great thing as well. That's solving a lot of dramas when it comes to people's current living situations.
Oh yeah,
totally.
totally.
Especially housing crisis going on at the moment, and there's a lot more application.
Yeah, well, I just where I was 2 or 3 years ago, I was running a carpentry business, and it was costing me $2,000 a week just to stay alive. You know what I mean? Like as soon as I took a day off, I still had to pay him. I still had to pay all these subscriptions and mortgages and bills and everything. And so if I took a day off, I was going backwards. Right. And I just wouldn't have been able to do that if I had a big mortgage over my head. Yeah. So it is. It's a win-win. It's a perfect answer for you. It is.
All right, so guys, I really appreciate your time, and what you've been sharing with us today has just been absolutely mind-blowing and fantastic. I'm really excited to see what comes next and how things go for you. But as we do with all our guests, we answer the six questions in 60 seconds. So the 6 in 60, and let's do it. You ready to go? All right. So what's a personal habit that has contributed to your success?
Getting up early.
All right, no worries. Megan, you too? We're gonna have to because there's two of you. Got to ask 2 questions to each.
Lots of laughing.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't worry, be happy.
Nice. Yeah, bring it back.
Ooh, I'll go. Measure twice, cut once.
So, if you could recommend one piece of one podcast or book to anyone in our audience, is there something that comes to mind straight away?
I'm gonna say Dark Emu because it was a recent read, but it woke some mainstream people up.
Absolutely, it's actually been a repetitive book.
It made people think.
Yeah, absolutely.
The best book I ever read was called The Secrets of the Talking Jaguar.
Secrets of the Talking Jaguar. Okay, so all right, I know this is only 60 seconds. I need to know a little bit more about Secrets of the Talking Jaguar.
It's about a guy who goes from America to Guatemala and becomes the shaman of a village there, and everything along the way just kind of works out, and he ends up there and becomes the shaman.
All right, that's cool. We're going to have to find out and get the links as well. That's cool. Okay, so what's something that's got you really fired up right now? Whether it's about domes or it's about life.
I was just going to say domes in general.
Domes in general? All right, that works. So, Charlie, you can't use that against now.
I'm really liking the way medical marijuana is going.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive changes, finally. So what would be your personal goals for the next 12 months?
I'm just going to focus on these workshops and really try and make something of them. Everything else got closed down in Australia. We were doing a lot of volunteering at festivals and things as well a year or so ago, and that all stopped. So I don't know. I just want to have fun.
Fantastic.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, all right. I'll take that. That's cool. Okay, no worries. All right. Now, who in the world, fictional, real, whatever, would have the most outrageous dome and why?
Who would have the most outrageous dome?
I don't know.
Yeah, that is a curly one.
If you could be any Disney character, which one would it be?
Was Winnie the Pooh a Disney character?
Oh, Winnie the Pooh works. It wasn't Disney,
Okay.
but that's right. No, Winnie the Pooh works.
I've also got an answer to the last question.
We'll get back to that one.
H.R. Geiger.
H.R. Geiger. All right, go on. You're going to need a bit more explanation with that one.
He was the guy that did all the alien landscapes and things from the movie. Yeah, it's all that
awesome.
biomechanical stuff. That'd look cool as a
That
dome.
would be awesome, yeah. You could do tattoo design work on the side as well. Let's go to Disney character.
I always liked Mowgli.
Mowgli.
Oh, Mowgli.
Yeah, fantastic.
He'd live in a cool dome.
He would. Bala would probably come along at that. All right, Megan, Charlie, thank you guys again so much for having us out here. Make sure everyone you check out Art of Domes. Guys, this has been an awesome conversation. Is there anything that we've missed that you wanted to bring up? Any topics or anything you wanted to send out into the world?
Come learn how to build domes.
Yeah.
There it is. Sums it all up. Guys, thank you again to our audience. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Have a great. All the best. We'll see you later on. Cheers.
Wow, isn't that so cool? Like, what an amazing structure they are. Look, I hope you really enjoyed that. Make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you soon.